Okay? Ready? Ready?
But like right before me and Vicky
Running. Ready?
skating and like started
Four.
skating, like doing our best times. I know. Yeah, pretty much.
I'm cool. I'm cool. Sorry. Yeah, you did what we normally do. Top end of the down cool. That's serious? Alright, take 10 minutes. Each of you figure out a different bump guide to that.
Piece of that.
I want you to start facing that way. So from there to some stopping point by the time you get to the end of the eye. Don't necessarily need to do the entire series of events, just some piece of that. But I want you to start at the top end. Okay, that's Brandon. That's not where I want you to start. I want you to start the move before that.
Killing you yet?
You were better off the first time.
That closed pretty nicely.
All right, let me kind of throw you guys a little bit of a lifesaver. I like where your brain is going. You're leaving out the next motion, and that's what's hanging you up. Think about what comes next and where that fits in or should fit in to what you guys are doing. You guys are stopping too soon with what you're trying to do.
I was using the next motion as the brake.
No, you weren't.
Was it? Okay.
Well,
And then I went into that weird stuff.
well, that's not the part I'm talking about. The part that you just mentioned is the part I'm talking about, and you're not doing that.
Punch. Is that just nice?
I gave you my suggestion. Go with it. Now, you don't need to change the hand, but you change the part that you needed to change. All right, young man, show me the final product. Okay, that's fine. Brandon, show me your final product. All right. Overall, not too bad. I like where you guys' brains were going. When the gap between you and your opponent, that's where they're going to be able to counter you. If you find yourself out here trying to work, that's where they're going to counter you. Okay? So, Ken, start yours again. Okay, keep going. There, and right there. Okay, now, so far so good. You have a couple of options in my opinion, depending upon what braking you're trying to do. From here, both of them involve that step and pump. So when in kata, when you step and punch, what happens to the other hand? That he does that for a reason. So what I want you to do now is just what you did. You leave this hand about here and push forward into whatever that point was you do as you step forward. Okay. Now, Brandon, what I want you to do is lift your elbow, step towards me, and left top foot. With the other elbow. Keep now looking in. Keep turning, keep turning, keep turning. That's what's going to happen. Okay, so go back to where, go back to start over. Now, as you step forward, make this grip. Bring this down into the DK as you roll forward or breaking forward, whichever you want to do. There you go. Yeah. Now, okay, so your eye on the shoulder, so you're not going to break anything. You are going to lock it. So, no, go back to where you were. It's not a bad spot. Not my favorite. But here's the thing. You see how much more off balance he's got it here out of his feet. Now, he's still going to try the exact same thing. When he does it, it's for me. Okay, now, when he does that, roll into that wrist line. This one's flat. Okay. Now, Grant, quick tightening. Slow down, make that turn. You're going to tuck his wrist towards you as you turn. The other way. Rip on it. Good. Come towards me to you. That one, yeah. And you're just going to take it the other way and break it up. Right. There is the second key. So you've done the kick. The first one is the break. You start the counter. Second. Punch. Punch. When you're doing this type of travel, this is the distance you keep, not keep. And if you add in, nothing wrong with what you did. If you can feel his balance, because he was in perfectly good spot on the step, if you can feel the balance and make that next step in the speed. Okay, now what are you going to do with it? Okay, so just for my own benefit, because I'm unclear, where are you striking? Up into the armpit. Okay, so what's he going to do once you do that? Where's he going to go? He's going to probably straighten up and kind of lift that shoulder, especially the angle you were hitting. If you want to hit it in that armpit, yeah, that's fine. Armpit's really not a bad place to go. Just drive it that way so that it lightens that foot closest to you. Now as you step, you're going to sweep that leg. Boom. You're not going to bring it back, you're just going to sweep the leg and step. As you stick. Once we're rolling, he'll fall back. Alright, okay. Go back to where you were. Go back to just where you were. Now, just put it where it was. Start down to the feet. Stop now. I want you to relax. Don't put power behind it. It's going to hurt it. Now, what I want you to do is angle your big toe to kind of match hips. Now, I want you to lean that knee forward like you're going to make a front stand. Really easy. There you go. Good. Quit doing that. Let him go. We're working with joints here. You don't go fast, you don't go hard, you definitely don't get jerky. It's going to hurt you. Got it, got it. Alright, hold on. Not too bad. Give me one more real quick. What else do you guys come up with? Different angle, different start. Well, same starting point in the kata, different starting point for your opponent. All right, let's save a little time. Okay, I'll pick your starting point. An attack from the rear. Same starting point in the kata, but your opponent is behind you. Ken, you are so close. You're on the path. You're just kind of poking around it.
Turn it into a
I'm not. Just,
something.
I don't want anybody to get frustrated. You guys are on the right path for what I'm looking for. All right, you got any insights, Mr. Brandon?
No, sir.
Okay. Again, you both are on the right track. One of the things that I want to get across tonight is something we've talked about before. When you're reading kata, it's a lot like, well, in my opinion, it's a lot like reading a math equation. If I write down 2 plus 3 equals 5, it's the exact same thing if I say 5 equals 3 plus 2. I can read it both ways, right? Okay, kata is the same thing. So in kata, well, how to say it? When in kata is a step forward, not a step forward. When it's a step back. Okay? You did it, I just put some words to it real quick. So, we're up here at the top end of the Nanku. I step into this left front thing. Before I do the turn. Kata equivalency. This is the same as that. We agree on that. Okay, good. Now, Shion James teaches a slightly different variation at the top end of this eye. It's cool. Rock and roll, his works. One of the reasons I have not changed is because I like the possible bunk guys to the way that I do it, even though it looks silly. So when I'm here, instead of going to the middle outside line, I drop, do the slow roll. So, neither one of you is wearing a cup, are you? Okay, so you're going to be careful when I describe this. All right, Ken, turn around, Brandon, bear hug. Okay, very slowly, Mr. Ken, I want you to take your right leg. I want you to slide it between his legs, if you can, as you drop it back to that left front stance. While you do that, hang on. Yeah. Once you get to there, I want you, this motion, I want you to reach down and grab what you're going to grab. The other hand, the hand closest to the right hand. So, step back, grab. There you go. Now, we can imagine what you're actually going to try and grab for. All right, we can all do that. Now, can you feel his knee-thigh area on the back of your right thigh?
Yes.
Okay, now,
Yes.
the other hand, the left hand, in it, when we hikite here, lock that down. Just lock him down. Now, I want you to very slowly begin that pivot. Well, actually, before we get, yeah, there we go. Yeah, it should be there. You're going to very slowly start that pivot towards me with that to that right front stance and lift for that middle outside fly. There you go. Very slow. Wham.
Really got to dig it deep for that.
Well, doing it in a static position like this, yeah, you really got to dig. When it's for real, this, he's going to already be off his feet. And you got to hold the thing because he doesn't want you down to hold it. So the rest of this, he's gonna probably go this way, around. But doing it slowly like this is exactly what you got, exactly what you needed to get right there. But at speed, as soon as you drop that leg back, that his leg should kick up. If it doesn't, at least his weight's gonna go up because you're now under his hip. So try one more time. Oh, plus the other thing, this hand going down, it's actually better for the bunk guy is if he's got you over the arms. If he's got you under the arms, just kind of lock his arm down rather than trying to do anything else with it. Move toward the center, you guys will back it up. Move toward the center. There you go. All right, try it one more time, and then Brandon, you give it a shot. Yeah, Brandon, go over his arms. Lower. Nobody's going to grab there. There you go. Just lock it down, yep. Did you feel his weight go? Yeah. As soon as you drop back, his weight went up and off his feet. Oh, yeah, exactly. He's going. Okay. Brandon, turn around. There you go. Slow, slow. Don't need to fight it. Brandon, put your right foot. There you go. Now, very slowly pivot. Pivot, 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 pivot. There you go. Good. Don't need to, Brandon. Okay, here, all right, get me for a second, because I don't think we've talked about this, or if we have, we haven't talked about it enough. It is not always a good thing if somebody grabs you to have them let go of you. Okay? In this situation, once you turn to try and get him off of you, that is a mental discomfort in you. Now, it's normal, it's natural, it is the way it is, unless you really like grappling. Then it's a completely, if you don't like grappling, it's a completely unnatural act to have another person you don't like have a hold of you. Okay? So I understand why people want to do it. In this situation, the longer they have a hold of you, the farther they're going to go. Plus, as we've talked about before, depending on how they grab you, it's not particularly useful. Now, one thing which we'll get to once we get back inside and can roll around a little more than we can out here, or than I want to out here, is the dynamic nature of this, okay? Nobody, you're not going to be standing there and the guy's going to come up and grab a hold of you. That's not going to happen. They're going to come up, go and start to kind of move you somewhere, which is not a bad thing, because then the step back just becomes my step forward. I take their momentum. They've done 3/4 of the work for me at that point. Even if they, really catch me flat-footed, try to move me and stop, so we just start over where we are. But to have them let go too soon, especially with them at my back, invites that shot to the back of the head. Kind of thing. So, try it again. Don't get so bound up in trying to get him off of you. Feel where his weight is going when you make the turn, because you're doing really well. If he can feel his weight going, the rest of that's going to take care of itself. Now, that's not to say that the world is all peaches and cream at that point. Take Sean Eric, for example. He tries to snatch you up that way. You do this technique with him. has enough grappling experience, he's gonna hold on. And he has the weight and size to do it. So when you do this, there's a good chance you're going with it. Which again, not a great thing, but it's not a horrible thing. Kind of thing. It's just, okay, now we're to a different topic maybe.
Seems like he could have you off the ground easy enough too.
And there's always that possibility too. Yeah. There's I've talked about it when I did the self-defense seminars, but I don't think I've talked about it in normal class. When you're trying to defend yourself, the mental aspect is just as important as the physical aspect. So if somebody's going to attack you, they have a pre-formed idea on how they're going to have that go. If you can get them off of their game, Hanshi always put it, well, no, I'm going to do that. The way it's phrased now is the OODA loop. O-O-D-A, you guys heard that one before? Observe, orient, decide, act. If you can interrupt one of those four things, because basically the human brain works in that big circle. If you can jip one of them, they have to reset. Everybody has to reset and start over. So when they're in their mode, sometimes just getting their attention is enough to give you an escape or give you a counter or give you enough time to reset the conflict kind of thing. So we talked about, John James and I watch a lot of surveillance video on YouTube. There's a surveillance video of like a Walmart. And it was this little girl, a little bit tiny thing, wandering around, God only knows where her parents were. And you see this creeper. He's following her, watching. You can kind of see his body language change when he decides to go. He goes over and he scoops her up and he's heading straight for the door. She didn't say anything. She didn't even really do anything. But he caught her in that bear hug a little bit too high and she wiggled. And she slid about that far. So now he has a choice. He either has to re-grip or he has to drop her. He dropped her and left her because he didn't want to be obvious about re-gripping. So all really just she reset the conflict just by doing a wiggle slid a little bit. Same thing here. Whatever happens, you reset it. One of the things that, as time goes on, that we'll get into more, we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, is kata doesn't give you just bunkai. Well, just proactive bunkai, we'll say. Maybe that's a better way of saying it. It also gives you the counter to their counter. Because it's not a perfect world. Might not work. They might be tough enough to take whatever you just gave them. But the things that come next in a kata anticipate the most likely scenario next. So a lot of times we go shuto, that kind of thing, where we step 3 blocks. First block, missed. He's firing again. Boom, whatever, boom, boom. So a lot of these repetitive motions set up for the counter to the next likely thing. Okay, I blocked, that other hand's coming. Ooh, okay, I gotta take care of that too. If it doesn't throw, I hit it, kind of thing. Like we were talking about in Ananku. Yeah, that arm bar, that elbow break, it's a great bunkai right there. But he's gonna turn. What does the kata do? It steps and moves that hand forward. And I punch again. So I end up in this wrist lock. Kind of thing. One possibility for that. Okay? All right. I think I made the point I was trying to make. All right. Brandon, turn around one more time. All right. Quit trying to fight him. Just smooth it out. There you go. Okay, Brandon, here's the part that you're leaving out. Your technique does not change ever. Your front stance is your front stance. Your rising block is your rising block. Your punch block, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? So when you're stepping back, and everybody does this, okay, it's just human nature. When you step back into this really great front stance. You hook the foot beautifully, which is exactly what I want you to do. As you start to turn into this front stance, you feel his body here. So you alter your technique. And that's why he's not moving, because you're leaving this leg, you got him all hooked up right. But as you start to turn, you're feeling that pressure from him, and then you're just turning this way. You're not doing anything with this leg. When you turn, very slowly, turn to this front stance. You have the foot hooked. You have his knee braced. You have all of that. As you make this turn, he's got a choice. He's either going to go with it or you're going to break his leg. Now, you do it slowly so you don't break his leg if he screws up. But I want you to try that. So, your opponent is not an impediment to your technique. Within the bounds of safety for the dojo. Out there, your opponent does not exist. He just happens to be in the middle of your technique. That's why we talk about punching through people. Like, oh, he's there? Okay, that's not what I want. I'm going to do my full range of motion. He just happens to get in the way of that. Same thing here, but we need to be safe for the dojo. So, that's where the control comes in. So do it again, but I want you to very slowly make a good front stance that way. You'll feel tap out if it gets too bad. So go ahead. But again, slow, easy. Relax. Now, pivot. Yeah, you feel that leg go? There you go. Good. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. You feel the pressure on the leg, right? Yeah, good. Yeah. Oh. Now, in the greater scheme of things, too, just FYI, the human body is a miraculous thing. As their leg is here, as your leg goes back here, if you line that leg up just right on the inside of his knee, there's about 3 pressure points that you can grind into that will help you with that as well. You'll probably hit one the way he's rubbing the inside of the leg. Okay? So, you're standing, sitting, kneeling, laying down, flying through the air. Your technique doesn't change. You just intercept people. Now, I know I've shown this one before with Sean Eric. I'll kneel down and I'll throw a rising block at whatever he's throwing in. Does it intercept his arm? No. He's like 12 feet taller than I am at that point. But my rising block then becomes a pelvic strike, or it becomes a whatever. But it does not change. I don't go, oh, his arm is way up there. I need to do something weird. That's how you punch in the face. I tried that for years. Don't do that. Nothing changes. Questions on that little piece of the bone food? Yes, sir.
I'm gonna look that one up and get some more ideas.
Punch your cousin.
Cousin.
The end of the wing. Flat. Okay, one caveat. Whatever boat guy you come up with must incorporate the crane stand.
What's up?
Well, that arm won't be there. Not a bad thought, but that arm won't be there. All right, Brandon, stay calm. Stand. Brandon, stay calm. Just as a general principle, once you've got that wrist lock going, sweeping the leg is not going to be necessary, and trying can actually mess up the technique. Because your main objective is to chicken wing that arm off. So if you just keep going, chicken winging that arm off, the arm's going to go off or it's going to throw, one or the other. So to stop and reach for the leg or to continue through and then try to jack the leg up, not really necessary. Not wrong, just not really necessary.
All the way down.
All the way down. Yeah. Because we're going slow and you're leaving him high, that's giving him the chance to kind of tripod himself along and keep his balance. So it's not that you're doing anything wrong, you're just trying not to kill your kid, which, okay, that's your choice. As you step forward, just step towards me and point very slowly to the ground. So it doesn't matter really whether that leg is there or not. It's going to be irrelevant to the arm. All right, go ahead. All right, let's start with this part. What are some of the main tenets of Shikaru? We talked about this before. I'll give you one. One hand, right. Okay, until the other one's on the way. All right. What else? Those are the things I'm talking about.
Twisting? Twisting the head?
Twisting. Yes, absolutely. What else? Okay? What else?
I believe you said this was goes for all condos, but color to the kids, but not all condos. I mean, different handles for.
That's universal.
Okay, that's what I said.
The one I'm looking, you said the ones that I was looking for. The one that you're missing that I want, angles. Everything angles in shoot through. That's why 90% of my tops have these wings on them. They go to 45. It's all about the angle. Okay? So, given those things that you just mentioned, what is, my opinion, the primary bunkai of a crane stand?
Seems like a load for any kick you want.
There you go. It's a kick. But more to the point and probably kind of nuanced, because again, he always said everything has bunkai. I took that to heart, so I truly believe that. Just like when you guys were standing in Yoidock, what has to happen first to make a crane stand?
Weight transfer.
Weight transfer. My personal opinion, that weight transfer is trying to tell you to move your butt to the side or some other angle when it's combined with the main principles of sheep the which is angles. So, you guys were, pretty much doing what I wanted you to do. Coming up here, making the crane stand. You came up with kick, absolutely. Crane stands, cat stands, it's all about the kick. Primarily. Okay? Other things, but primarily the kick. Is standing on one leg directly in front of somebody intent on doing you harm a really brilliant idea? No. But what is a brilliant idea is passing them to make the rest of it, or letting them pass you. So, I know we've talked about this, or I've mentioned it before. The guy out of the UK, Ian Abernathy's on YouTube. If you haven't seen him, watch him. He's got good stuff. He's a shuttlecock stylist. One of his absolute rules for bunkai is that the angle of the kata teaches you the angle that you are to your opponent. So anytime that, like in Tennokai, you turn here first, according to his philosophy, you are to the side of your opponent. Do I agree with that? Yes. Do I believe that that's an absolute to the degree that he does? No. Because we've all done bunkai other angles. But here's the part where I think it really does apply for us. Once you set your initial angle, then the kata becomes the kata. Okay? So once you face each other. Now, you don't need to do anything. This is kind of a mental exercise. Okay, the bunkai that you guys were working for Monte Kaji, you were starting here. And you were hitting all the correct angles. Now, what I want you to do is envision that you have stepped to the side. And then started all of that bunkai. Which way would you be facing once you made this? Okay, if your opponent is attacking straight at you, you shift to the side to start the bunkai. Where are you going to be facing?
Facing towards your opponent?
Well, yes, but on what angle to your opponent?
45 degrees.
45 degrees, probably. Right. So, here's what I want you to do, man. I want you to step over so you're facing your dad on a 45-degree angle. So face, point your belly button at him. There you go. There. Now, Kevin is trying to attack you. You made that angle. As you're making Machikaze, does it really matter that you are 45 degrees to your opponent?
better.
It's even better. So to answer my question, yes, because it makes it better, actually. So, you're off to the 45. You've done this. Pop that leg. Bam. All the rest of it. You're all in here. All in the side. So, file that away for later use. Not everything has to be this. Now, not all conflicts are going to start this way. Just because they start this way doesn't mean they have to stay this way. Just trust me. Been there before. You do not want to be inside Sean Eric's arm range in here while he's annoyed. It's a bad place to be. But even as big, as strong, as good as he is, you slip outside that on the 45, your life is going a lot better. To stand here and blah, 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 it's fun. I like doing it, he likes doing it, and it's fun. But it's not useful. But even though I've shifted my world, you guys have all met Sean Haney before, right? Okay. He has a saying, you are not the center of the universe, but you are the center of your universe. So once you shift to that angle, you are now the center of your universe. Your kata, your motion doesn't change. We go back to what I was saying before. Targeting changes, angle of your opponent changes, but that really doesn't matter. It makes your life easier and better in some respects. So, all right, yeah, man. Questions on any of that?
Yes, sir.
Heard Sensei Mabuni profess the same thing about kata. Not facing the new opponent, it's just changing your
Yeah. That's one of the things that I have always disagreed with. Now, it's very entertaining, and it's really cool when it's done well. It looks really cool. I don't take anything away from it. But like, if you watch like the World Championship Team Kata, it's 3 people, male or female. They'll do a synchronized kata, and then they'll do a bunkai sequence. But it's always, you know, okay, kata goes this way, kata goes this way, kata goes that way. And it's entertaining as hell, and it's cool, and it's really athletic and really well done. But it's not real. So yes, I agree that the kata is teaching you an angle to your opponent in a lot of ways. It's like, you know, kendo kata. It's not necessarily that he's coming from this direction. He can still come here, but I want to shift that angle. It's happening. That's how it works. Where I disagree with Sensei Abernathy is, for him, it's absolute. I disagree with that absolute. And I disagree on how he always gets there. So it's more of a semantic argument or semantic disagreement, because in principle we're in complete agreement. It's just he is really, this is the only way. Maybe not, my opinion. That's just my opinion. Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I was thinking about this today. I don't know why it jumped into my head. If you guys don't want to do like a gun thing on like a weekend, if you can hang out like Monday night after class, bring the wife over, we could do it then. Kind of thing. On a Monday.
She's down with it. She says, definitely. Just let
Okay.
us know.
Well, we'll talk about it later. All right, call it.
Let's go. Showing right. Showing right. Octagoni right.